While my journey of writing is a path of mine that is well established from the depth of my experiences, my journey of painting is a castle that I've just begun to explore. Painting is living my story out loud in a colorful and deeply sensual way. I always have this feeling of wanting to bathe in the colors, of holding the paints in my hands, feeling it between my fingers. Painting is a living testament to my existence, that I have allowed the infinite nature of who I am to flow through me. This innate knowing that there's magic in every brush against the canvas. This innate knowing that the magic of the infinite is playing with me in those moments. This innate knowing that as the blank canvas is being covered, the infinite is birthing itself, growing on the canvas, and after the paints upon the canvas have dried, the magic wouldn't cease as the infinite continues evolving, becoming more of the beauty that it has created, becoming more of itself. I have the honor of exploring the halls of my castle and decorating its walls with canvases of the infinite. So this is the next painting, and this is the Queen, and again this feels very layered, and the Queen, I feel that she's standing atop this mountain. She's standing atop this mountain, and then there's this feeling that she's in control. She's holding the reins on her life. She's holding the reins on her creations. And this comes from her intimate surrender to her source, this intimate surrender to her innate source. And it feels like she is the mountain itself. She is this mountain, and it's in essence a reflection of her. It's a reflection of who she is, of her spirit. It's very, very powerfully established, powerfully grounded in such a way that you would not even think of trying to move it. It's not a thought. It's not a it's just not even a thought, because it's something that's her spirit. She's so powerfully rooted in who she is, that the mountain is this powerful reflection of who she is. And I love that feeling of standing atop the mountain and just looking out at the world, and at the same time feeling that you are the mountain itself. You are like standing on that mountain and feeling yourself standing upon it, and how steady it feels, how strong it feels, and feeling that as a reflection of your innate spirit. So that's the queen. And then the next painting, the next ultimate expression of her existence. So how I feel it is that it's taking all these innate jewels of existence and sort of throwing them all into this cauldron and mixing it and coming forth from the concoctions that come forth are the ultimate expressions of her existence. So the next painting is the High Priestess, and this is the experience of painting this in and of itself feels it was a very, 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 very intimate experience for me. Like those are literally my footprints on the canvas, and I felt that it was just it was something that I was experiencing again and again and again within myself. This feeling of how sacred I felt, how sacred I feel walking my path every day, walking along my path every day, how holy and sacred that feels, and feeling the strength of spirit, strength of the absolute flowing through me in each and every one of the footsteps. And so to be able to bring this experience further to life in this painting was very, very, very special to me. The High Priestess, High Priestess. And I feel this is just an energy where I experience a lot of my freedom in, and it's just this feeling of giving complete free rein to expressing myself, to expressing this wisdom that I feel flowing through me, this knowledge that I feel flowing through me, this clarity that flows forth from me, and that makes me feel so alive, that feels like this true and powerful source of nourishment for me. It feels to be able to express this and to walk this path, it makes me feel so free. So the next expression that came forth from the cauldron of all those gems mixing together, it's the sorceress. And so at the very, 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 very beginning of the video, when I was reading the preface that I wrote for the Jewels of Her Existence, I said, a sorceress who cloaked herself in a black cape and held the title of Lady of the Black Diamond, a black diamond infused with the timeless magic of her existence, the sorceress. So it feels like an energy that's layered within itself, in that the sorceress feels very, very mysterious in a sense. Like I said, the timeless magic the timeless magic of her existence. There's this deep mysteriousness about it. So while I was painting the sorceress and contemplating this feeling of magic, the magic of who I am and the magic of life, it felt very, very, very bright, and it's what my innate magic feels like. It feels very bright and radiant and colorful. And I remember I was watching this anime at the time, and it's called Magi, and Aladdin, his magic was so and who he was in the anime, like it was just so radiant, so brilliant, and so pure, and so beautiful that it just I was like, this is literally what it feels like to me. And so it was a bit funny when I sat down to paint it, that it in that moment it didn't feel like this deep mysterious sorceress. It just felt colorful, like this blazing sun. And when I look at the painting, it feels light, and it feels joyous, and I feel that says a lot, that my innate magic feels like joy. So it's like in my joyful state of being, my magic pours forth, my magic flows forth from me. And it also feels like there's all these playful creations of sorts co-creating in this magic of life, this magic that is life with me. And again, like it just feels very light. It feels playful. It feels joyful, and it's just radiating and extending itself outwards. And it feels there's almost a sense of innocence to it, and its playfulness. So the next ultimate expression of her existence is the chief. And I feel there's this again, like this feels layered. It feels again something that is very sacred to me, something that is very significant to me. And I remember experiencing that clarity, having those visions at the time that inspired the painting. And it was one of those experiences where, again, like I never pondered upon something like that. I never asked to experience. I never imagined it. And so to be able to experience it, it felt so sacred. And what it was is it's that I experienced the absolute and a diversity of expressions, and with the chief, I felt this expression. It felt like the ultimate. It felt like the ultimate expression, but I described it as that feeling of oneness, that feeling of the oneness that is source, that is existence. And I would have these visions, and it was me and other people, and it was nighttime, and there was this fire burning, and there was this energy, this atmosphere that what was flowing was not only just the wisdom of who we are, but also just this appreciation for that wisdom itself, that pure acknowledgement and recognition of the wisdom flowing. And then there was this silence where I felt this oneness of who we are, and it just felt it felt so silent. It felt so silent, and it's just one of those things where it was so silent. I could hear it. I could hear it in that I sensed it so deeply within myself, so deeply within myself. And it's just one of those things that's so, it's just something that I always want to remember within myself. I always want to be able to live my life from the core of that oneness, from the core of I want to be able to bring to life that oneness, and to be able to experience it in my life, and I feel that fire. It's that sacred fire of wisdom, that sacred fire of knowledge, and I feel that what's so unique about these paintings and their energies, it's that there's this timelessness about it. There's this limitlessness about it, that almost that it has a possibility of revealing a greater depth of itself over time, and having those experiences where you say to yourself, hey, I experienced this before, but I never knew it could be experienced in this way, or in this depth, or in this magnitude. Yeah. So that's the chief. And then the next painting, it's the Titan. The Titan. And this was the Titan. It was very, very it was such a new experience for me at the time. It was like I was experiencing all these expressions of who I am, and the more I felt it, the more I felt this innate fire to have it just solidified in me, where I within myself was so not absolute of it, but living in the absolute of it. And the Titan, I felt like the Titan was born from that expression, from that desire, from that fire to experience the absoluteness of it. And this is a piece that I wrote. I'm standing firmly on the ground beneath me, my fists tightly clenched. I feel my innate power. I feel my innate strength. There's a sword in each of my hands. I feel my innate power. I feel my innate strength. And I can feel that my body, in and of itself, is a beautiful instrument of the clarity of who I am. For I feel my innate power and my innate strength within it. My body feels powerful. My body feels strength. A power, a strength that is raw in the essences of who I am. I feel Source's power and Source's strength intimately and uniquely alive as me. And deeper than that, I feel that in its essence, it is the raw energy of Source that I am intimately and uniquely a creation of it. And it feels of power and it feels of strength, which opens me to a deeper clarity of my unique and intimate truths of my innate powers and strengths. What are my innate powers? What are my innate strengths? Strength and power. My strength and my powers feels of the raw energies of my innate passions. Passion. What matters deeply to me? What matters most to me? Yes, this is it. It is natural to use my innate powers. It is natural and obvious and plain and simple to use my innate powers and my innate strengths. It is natural and obvious that I use my innate powers and my innate strengths. I can feel that there is great significance in acknowledging the thing itself. For in acknowledging the thing itself, it is highlighting the knowledge of who I am. It is exploring and experiencing who I am. Experiencing and expressing the clarity of who I am. It is natural and obvious to use my innate powers and my innate strengths. It is precisely me, simply being aware of, perceiving my natural and innate and obvious powers and strengths. It is easy for me to enjoy and experience the clarity of my innate strengths and innate powers. There upon the ground lay her instruments. For a moment she felt it as her destiny, and perhaps it was, and yet she knew that it was much simpler than that. It was obviously who she was. It was the swords of her raw power and raw strength. It was the trident of her raw truth. For the power of the goddess and the strength of the goddess can only be claimed by her and no other. For the power of the goddess and the strength of the goddess can only be claimed by her and no other. For only she can yield her own innate powers and her own innate strengths. For though her gods can see it, it is only the goddess that can yield her own powers, for only the goddess can yield her own strengths. I stand here firmly planted in my truth. I stand here firmly planted in my power. I stand here firmly planted in my strength. I stand here with my trident in hand. I stand here with my swords in hand. I stand here as the goddess that I am. I stand here as the goddess that I so obviously and plainly am. Titan. I feel that in the painting, it feels like a castle or a queendom, that it's heavily guarded. It's heavily guarded in the sense of that unwavering knowing of oneself, that unwavering knowing of the absolute, that almost when it comes to life, it becomes its own creation. And again, it reminds me of what I was saying about the mountain earlier. It's something that you wouldn't look at a mountain and just think about just walking towards it and trying to move it. There's something that feels very strong and powerful about it. And the Titan in her innate strength and her innate power within herself, it's just this natural it's just this natural guarded nature around her. Her knowledge, her wisdom, her strength, her power. It's like you can't, it just naturally exists. Like she herself cannot add or take away from it, but it just naturally expands on its own, experiencing more and more and more of itself. So that's the Titan. And then we have the